you, Maya?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. How are you doing?
I'm good, hanging in quarantine, hanging at home. How's quarantine been for you? 5 months now.
Quarantine has honestly been, I mean, let's be honest, it has a lot of challenges, but knock wood, we are all safe and healthy, so that makes me happy. And, it allows you to appreciate your life a lot more and appreciate the people in it. And, yeah, it's been a little bit sweeter in that respect. That being said, we're all sick of each other, but yeah, it's just like down to basics, right? Like
Down to it,
whatever
it's
works.
down to Zoom. It's
Yeah.
Zoom.
Mm.
Did we even know what Zoom was 5 months ago? Did you?
No, I didn't, and I instantly became, um, a teacher's assistant on it. I was talking to their teachers and helping out with math, and I mean, it's just been a really, it's something that I we were watching Radio Days the other night. And it was great because the kids had never seen it. And I feel like there have been so many times in movies where you um, see people during wartime and you think, what must that have been like? And there was a moment when the family had to turn off all the lights for the so that the Germans wouldn't see New York, And I thought, I feel like this is the first time I can kind of relate to like something we all have to do, something we're all doing together, and we're going to look back and reflect and tell their kids. And it was pretty wild.
That's so interesting because the other day I was thinking, I remember when I was younger and I would say to my grandma, like, did you always have electricity?
Yeah.
Listen, she wasn't from the 1800s. She had electricity.
But it,
But I
yeah.
but I think about like it's kind of the same thing. Like all of a sudden they have electricity and it just becomes normal. Like when it first happened, it must have been like, what is this? And now like I look at people wearing masks and it is just completely normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I get a weird, I don't go out much, but when I have, I get a little like road rage when I see people not wearing masks around,
Oh yes.
around other people. Like, what are you doing? I get so ragey.
Yeah.
But it's such, yeah, it's just a strange time.
And you don't know, like, you're like, I should be able to say something because it's my health.
I know. I mean, listen, my stepmom is Japanese, and my parents have been traveling to Tokyo since I was a kid, and they always traveled with masks on the airplane, and
Right.
they'd always say to me like, "You should take a mask. It's good, and you're not feeling well. You should wear a mask." And I was like, "That's so embarrassing. You look like you're ill." But I really have always understood a lot of the reasons for safety and precautions in the Japanese culture, and I see how they've done stuff for many years. It makes a lot of sense, and the beauty of it is it's not it's for other people. People wear
Right.
masks to protect other people. That's the crazy part. So yeah, we're working on it, right? As human
Yeah.
beings, I guess we're working on it.
We are. And you're going into the Emmys, not one nomination, not two nominations,
Nope.
three nominations.
It couldn't be crazier. It's
How
all I'm
weird
just
is
laughing
that?
at everything that's going on. Like, sure, why not? I mean, it's lovely. It's
but it's
lovely.
but for
Uh,
three different,
Yeah.
animated, so it's voice work, sitcom, then live sketch comedy. Like it's amazing that it's sort of a range. It really
Well,
shows your
it's
range.
honestly it's for three things I love very much. So I feel really
Mhm.
proud. Like love working on The Good Place, and there's no question that I have, and I love doing anything on SNL, and I feel so lucky that I've been able to play Senator Harris. It feels so exciting, and I love my character Connie from Big Mouth,
Mhm.
and it's nice, to feel proud of the things that you've done for a change and feel like, thank you, everybody. I'm glad you like it too. So yeah, it's like enjoy the good right now. Enjoy all the good.
And you obviously you do a lot of voice work.
Yeah,
How great is it? Like you just sort of don't have to do hair and makeup. You don't have to get into a wardrobe.
fucking great. I mean, honestly, I remember when we first started having to do any sort of voiceover at SNL, we'd have to go into the booth and we'd record, I got to sing the jingle for Mom Jeans, or you got to, say like, whatever tram is sold, at Dwayne Reed. And I would think like, God, this seems like a fun job. Like I like doing different voices in a booth. And it started very gradually, but it's such a fun thing to do because just like with Big Mouth, I mean, you can really be anything. So it sort of transcends, good old fashioned acting where you put on a costume, which, Spanx and I are not friends anymore. Like I have no interest in putting on another pair of Spanx. So it's nice to not just have to get dressed up in hair and makeup, sure, but it's also like I can be a dog, I can be a hormone monster, I can be a, anything. It's great in that sense. And it's really, it's stretchy.
What do you love about Connie?
Oh my God. Connie, I am nothing like Connie. So balls, the biggest balls of them all. And she's so womanly, but she's so hairy and musky, which I love. It's just like so unapologetically like stinky and hairy, but she's so confident and like just loves herself and just loves her like her curves and um I get to say really funny stuff for Connie. They give me really, really funny things to say. And I'm always laughing whenever I'm recording her and I'm always saying really dirty, silly things, but they're funny. They're really funny.
And when you're recording, are you always alone?
It depends. Whenever I'm with another person, luckily it's Nick Kroll,
Hmm.
which is a dream. That guy's unreal talented beyond belief, and he makes me laugh so hard. And he actually knows Connie's voice so well, so he gives me things to say. So he likes my pronunciation of, instead of saying the word hard, he likes me to say like horde. Like he knows what he wants me to say, so he just sort of like dials it in. But he can literally do anything. Usually, when I do the show, I play a lot of. I also play Nick's mom, and Fred Armisen is meant to be my husband, and so we have a lot of scenes together. But if Fred's not there, then Nick will play Fred. But he does Fred. But as Fred's character, he's amazing.
But when you have to record on your own, is it just strange? Do you, because
It's
don't you have to
I
feed
got
off the
used to it, but yeah,
reaction?
I think in a perfect world, it would be nice if we were all together. I like comedy as a group sport personally, and I think it makes me funnier because I feel like I'm laughing more. I feel like when I'm around funny people, I get motivated to try to make them laugh. And you're always trying to make your funny friends laugh, and then it's sort of infectious. So yeah, I think that definitely helps. Although Mark and Jen, who I work with all the time on Big Mouth, I mean, they've got Connie completely dialed in. And if Connie died, Jen could do her in her sleep. She can do it, you know, asleep, standing up asleep. So,
When did you know you were funny?
when I was little, I knew I was funny, and I don't know. It's funny. I can't say how I gravitated towards it. I just know that funny was definitely an option in my household because my parents were very funny, and my brother was really funny. My brother's 4 years older, and so he was really my role model, and he was really funny. But I know that when I was little, I remember I had to make my friend laugh because I think she got hurt and she was crying, and it made me really uncomfortable. So
Hmm.
I avoided that by making her laugh. And it's such a comfortable mask for me. I mean, I've now, made peace with it, and I understand why I've chosen to wear a mask for so many years. Um, but it's still one I love very much. And I think it goes, and as I age, I think it goes nicely with all the real life stuff too. I think, um, it even took me a long time to sort of have a sense of humor about myself because I've always had a mask, and sort of had to like protect myself in that way because
Mm.
it's really painful the other way. But um, yeah, I think I did, hundreds of living room theater for my family, as hundreds of shows, performances, and I liked the audience. I liked the attention. So
Mm.
I think once I knew that I was getting butts in seats, after a while, I was hooked.
When did you realize it was a mask and it was, I guess, a way, a defense in a way?
That was later. I mean, definitely later for sure. It's funny though, we're all smarter than we think we are when especially when we're younger. And when I look back at the things I did or the way I maneuvered through life, I'm proud of the younger model of me who wasn't consciously aware that it was a mask, but was using it at times that, that were necessary or to deflect pain or suffering. But yeah, it wasn't until later. And I think even later in my years of at SNL, I sort of realized it wasn't just a mask, but some of my characters, once I started realizing that some of my characters had like a sort of a through line, and they had something in common, I realized it was more than just a mask, but it's almost like drag. Like for me, it was really realizing that this idea of a woman and feeling my whole life like I didn't really know how to be one, I was really kind of creating one and creating very
Mm.
larger than life versions of these female characters. And those seemed to be the ones I go for. So, after a while, it was like everyone was just giving me their diva characters. It was like, here's Donatella, here's Oprah, here's all these like larger than life, but like I think it's just kind of was like this way to be this like woman, you know.
Was
Um,
there was there ever a time where you were told like you shouldn't not be so funny, but you know what? Calm down. You don't want to be the center of attention,
oh
that kind of
sure,
thing.
yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, many times. Yeah, I mean, I'm such a like an obvious person of comedy. Like I have my like darkness too that like
Mhm.
pairs well with comedy. So like I'm actually pretty mellow in real life, and it's a good I my ear is finely tuned to like not being on all the time because that's kind of unbearable
Yes.
in my experience. So I know when to quit. But sure, I mean, when I was little, it was like Wadley Acha 24/7 and yeah.
I was I was always the class clown. That's what I got all the time. You're the class clown. You always want the last word. I was the one the teacher would say, "You can't have the last word." I'm like, "Yes, I can."
There it is.
That.
I know. I mean, we kind of know who we are as we're finding out who we are. So it's it's really interesting to think about these things now, and I'm sure I'll be looking back later on now and realizing things that I'm not realizing now. But yeah, I knew that I liked, to be loud and funny because I was getting a response. I think that's why, you know, SNL is my touchstone of like my heart and like the place that I feel I came alive in what I was already naturally doing because there's a built-in audience, and that energy fed me. So
Mm.
it's so different, doing things obviously in a box or doing things without an audience. But I I was lucky enough. There was one time I was there, and I was a cast member on the show, and at the time, and Bill Murray happened to be there taping something in the building, and he came by, and I'd never met him before, and I love him a lot, like a lot, like too much, and so he just started talking to me as though we had had a conversation 5 minutes ago out of nowhere. I mean, this was like a complete stranger, but he knows it's like we might as well be family at this point because we're all intertwined. And he gave me the best advice I'd ever gotten at that show. He said, the best thing you can do is to perform for the audience in the room. Don't perform for the audience at home. Perform for this studio, and you're trying to make them laugh. You're trying when you're on the floor and you're rehearsing it, trying to make the cameraman laugh. You're trying to make, you're all in it together. And there's something about that that made so much sense and really changed the way that I performed there specifically, because it's about the actual energy in the room, and it makes a difference. You know what it's like to be right in front of people and have a captive audience, even if you're at a dinner table. It's just, it's about them and being connected to them, and it really made it stayed with me. I'm so grateful that I got to hang out with him, but I love that because he's totally right, and those are the things that I think they also sort of transcend into other parts of your life.
Do you remember the first moment you walked on that stage at SNL? What is going through your mind?
I was terrified, and I feel like Penny Marshall was there, which was really intimidating because I was like, she was my lady growing up. It was like, oh, it's Laverne and Shirley and Maya. Like, oh, what a coincidence. We all live in the same apartment. We all live in the same duplex with Lenny and Squiggy. So when you're there, you're looking at the cue cards and the camera, but just past that was Penny Marshall. And it got me it got me tongue tied. It got me totally tongue tied. And I think I tripped up on my line or something like that. Yeah, it was terrifying.
What was the one moment, like the first moment where like you just thought you were nailing it? You were just so funny. The cameraman was gonna laugh, and it just went.
Oh, there are far too many. We actually used to have a thing we did, because dress rehearsal is when things actually get on their feet, and you have a full audience. Right. It's just not live. So a dress rehearsal show, you really get a chance to give something a try with a full studio audience. And I can't explain how many times we thought, like, here we go, here it comes, and this thing. And then there are times that have been so bad that you're just laughing because it's going terribly. And you're looking at the other person like, this sucks. This is tanking. And they're like, in their eyes, they're going, I know, it's completely tanking. So we used to have this thing we called Shit Can Alley, where there's an area in the studio where if you're watching the studio from the second floor, you can't see that set. It's sort of below the bleachers, and it's really hard to see. So people are watching on the monitors, and you always know your sketch probably isn't going to do great when it's in Shit Can Alley because people can't see you. So they're sort of like, wait, what's happening? It's on that little monitor over there. And then we used to get, God, it's so funny. I was just thinking about this morning, that when I started SNL, everything was on VHS. And I wasn't that long ago, but like, we used to get, research used to give us VHS tapes of anything we asked for. So we started asking for the dress rehearsal show. And then we'd all get together in somebody's office and we would watch things tank and just laugh our asses off till we were crying. It's so painful. It's so painful to watch, but it's so much fun. It's just like, I survived, but it's humiliating.
When do you think it's going to be safe to go back into that studio?
That's a great question, God. I mean, I'm proud of New York for what they're doing so far. I wish I'm in California right now, and I wish we were doing as well as they are, but yeah. I believe in that show, and I know that they'll figure it out at some point. I don't know when, but I don't know. I mean, I can't believe we don't know.
We don't. And anyone who says they do know, they don't know.
We're all trying to figure it out.
Right. And everyone keeps saying, well, when this first started, it was like, 2 weeks. It'll be fine.
No, I was
September.
reading today on a new report on aerosols and how it's airborne. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll know what the hell's going on at some point, right?
And that brings me to the next thing. Are you hopeful for 2020?
Oh, you know what? I am not going to lose hope. I'm not going to lose hope. And I'm not gonna lie, when I heard that Kamala was running, I was like, oh, what's that sensation in my body? This feels foreign. Oh, this is hope. Like, maybe we can do this. Look, I'm well aware that we've been through so much disappointment, and every time I think I'm so disappointed it can't get much worse, it gets much worse. But humans are interesting in the sense that I think that we're all talking about the way we're dealing with this and looking at it, and we're really showing how we deal with this pandemic, and it's showing a lot about our personalities. So I'm thinking that the people that are benefiting from this in a positive way will make some changes. I know my kids living through this will take this with them for the rest of their lives. Hopefully it will not scar them permanently, but I think fuel them, and they're fascinating because they're already like adapting to this and going on to the next thing. Like, we just have to do better, so I think things are going to get better one day. I don't know what's going to happen in 2020, but I'm going to work my ass off to do the best I can to try to make it hopeful.
So has the campaign reached out yet?
Not yet. No, I haven't met her. I've never met her.
You've never met her?
No, we both publicly exchanged niceties. She said something really funny and cool after I did her on SNL on Twitter. And so I said something back, and like the one in every 5 years that I respond to anything on Twitter. And I've seen her talk about me playing her and hoping I'd play her for 8 years, which was great. But I've never met her.
How wild is it?
It's wild. It's so wild because I am not running for vice president, and I am not a senator, and I have not done the remarkable things that Senator Harris has done, and yet I am getting a lot of praise. And it's amazing, but like, I'm getting so much goodwill as though I were running, and it's hilarious. Like, people mention her, they mention me too, and it's pretty delightful. But I keep reminding myself, like, honey, you are not Kamala. But I'll take it. I mean, there's a lot of excitement. So that it's a nice person to be associated with. I'm glad.
I know. I spoke to Kerry Washington, and she said, a lot of times when things are like this are happening, they're like, Olivia Pope, save us. And she's like, Olivia Pope doesn't exist. I'm not Olivia Pope. You got to vote. I'm flattered, but no.
That's right. But it is nice that, for so many years, Saturday Night Live has been able to process a lot of what we're all feeling, and at times really be cathartic for what we're all experiencing. I know I felt that way when I watched the SNL at home. That was great. Especially that very first episode. I think we all felt like, okay, we're all good. This was familiar, and we're laughing. Oh my God, we're laughing. And I mean, I worked at the show after September 11th, and I remember being in that studio with all the firemen, and that was wild. Like, what a time. I mean, I had just moved to New York, and it was and I remember going into the show at the end of summer thinking, like, how are we gonna do this show? And then somehow we figured it out. And I think the thing you realize is people need to laugh, and people need to have a collective experience. People need to talk about it. I'm a firm believer in talking about things, maybe too much, but I think it's good.
So you like therapy. I have a feeling you like therapy.
Love it.
20 years, at least 20 I'm going on.
It's fantastic. And it's good for me, to get things out of my brain and my body. They seem a lot smaller when they're out.
When you say it.
Oh, yeah, when you say it.
Takes the power away.
That's right.
So tell me about the first audition you ever went on.
Oh my God. I'd have to think about that one. I feel like it didn't go well. I don't think things went that great in the beginning. I mean, I didn't even audition for Saturday Night Live, which I've mentioned publicly, so people know that. But like, I got talked out of it by a manager at the time who thought, "Oh, you don't want to go now. The contracts are so bad." And I was so young and impressionable. I went, "Okay." And so, really, being on Saturday Night Live was my audition. Just doing the show live. I came at the end of the 25th season, and I just did some live shows. But God, I mean, I used to do when I first started auditioning. I used to do auditions for like commercials, or even I think I was even doing like groups of like young kids in music videos and like really bad stuff like that. So I remember one time I was like an extra background in a Dr. Dre video, and they wanted us to, and it was like a night shoot, which is already like, this is a terrible idea. And we got paid nothing. And we had to walk in this like, I don't know, like place where they said like, oh, you know where we're walking, where that liquid is? That's where they dump porta potties. And I was like, I'll be in my car. And I slept in my car for the whole night of the shoot, and then got my money and then went home.
So you weren't in the video in the end?
No, God, no. No,
That's
God,
amazing.
no. I wasn't in videos in those days, though. I mean, they were like, there was a small movement in, what was it, 96, maybe 97. There were a lot of music videos being made, and so they'd have like, it was pre-hipster, so I don't know what people were called, but like my hair was really curly, and I was like young, and
you were called the 90s.
It was so 90s. It was like kids hanging out on a roof downtown. So I was like in a Miller beer commercial, like in the desert. Except
and then you did Chicago Hope.
Yeah, that was like my
which
first
is 24
job.
years. 24
How many?
years. 24.
Really?
1996.
Oh, come on, really? So I probably auditioned for that.
You got it.
I
Something
did.
went well.
I did.
You're like, I was in a Dr. Dre video.
So get ready. I had to audition for Jim Brooks once. I ended up being, I might as well have been a background person in the movie, As Good as It Gets. No, not As Good as It Gets. It was, it's As Good as It Gets. That's right. I had to audition for Jim Brooks, which was terribly exciting and terribly embarrassing. What am I? But
do you remember what you auditioned for?
I was about 4. No, I was, I was probably 20. God, what year was that? 25, 26,
yeah.
5. Yeah.
But do you remember what you auditioned for?
I looked like I was 4.
But do you remember what role you auditioned for, or was it just some random?
Oh, it was the exact same one I'm in that I am in the movie, but it was like, they want you inside, sir. It was like the Pee Wee Herman, paging Mr. Herman. You're wanted at the front desk.
And look where you are now. 3
delightful.
Emmy nominations.
I know.
Going up against yourself.
Apparently I made history, which was also news to me, that like that hasn't, I guess no one has been nominated against themselves in this category. It's great. Like I've always wanted to make history somehow. I'm glad it's for this and not something really awful. Like, and she was the lady that, drove off the off-ramp.
Knock wood. Have you heard from, now my dogs think someone's at the door. Have you heard from Wanda Sykes? Because she's coming,
I know. No, we were on a virtual panel together. So I was talking to her as well as some other nominees when we found out that Senator Harris was nominated.
Oh, the EW panel. Yeah.
So I love that Wanda Sykes.
She's so funny.
Oh my God. What a dreamboat.
And you're going against Taika Waititi.
Fine with me. I'll take it.
It's such a hodgepodge of people.
There's a hodgepodge of people. It's amazing what you can do when you never meet any of these people and you're like, oh, we're doing what together, Taika?
I think you need to be in the new Thor.
I'm down. If I can do it from my bedroom.
The voice of the hammer.
I got this. I know it all too well. My son is really into Thor, so he got a hammer, and you have to say, well, it says I am Thor, but you also have to say, oh shoot, he was just here. I could have asked him. I think you say like power, or you say something like destiny, and then it like it like goes. There's like a big like lightning bolt or something.
There's your. You know what? You just went on tape for Tiger.
There you go.
Maya, thank you so much. This was absolutely awesome. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure.
And I'll see you at the virtual Emmys.
I think so.
Yeah, what are you gonna wear? A shirt?
Sure.
That's it.
I mean, listen, my feet are gonna be so happy no matter what I wear. Because I mean, this is it. I'm wearing these. That's it. Good.
You're wearing more than I'm wearing. I got socks.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. That's
Awesome.
It.
Thank you, Maya.
All right, pleasure.
Take care. Bye.
You too.